Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
There's a certain level of vehemence, it seems to me, that's directed at me, directed at the president. You know, people talk about taking their country back. You know, I can't look into people's hearts, look into people's minds, but it seems to me that this president has been treated differently than others.
Now, Al Sharpton, when you gave that speech, said that he thought it was about race. Those were his words. Are they yours?
Now, there's a certain racial component to this for some people.
I want to take my country back, and it has nothing to do with what color the president is or the attorney general is. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is our friend Noah Rothman, associate editor for HotAir.com. And Noah, you know, for the attorney general to keep doing this, and the president, as black Americans, the most highly elected black officials and appointed black officials in the country's history practically here, when I could say with the same certainty as the Attorney General's a very uncertain statement that a number of blacks who voted for Obama did so because they don't like white people. And so what does that mean? What does that prove? What does that show?
Right, and you really don't need a whole lot of evidence to suggest that, to make that assertion, because there are so many caveats in what you said and what Holder said that it's probably true, and you can't really disprove it. It's unfalsifiable. So, and there's, if you read Glenn Thrush's reporting in Politico, it suggests that the president is happy about this and wants Holder to come out and be very racially inflammatory and create the sense that the president is really being subjected to an unprecedented level of hatred from his opponents because of his racial animus and because it supports their electoral prospects. That is just as unfalsifiable and true as it is to say that the president's opponents are motivated by racial hatred.
Yeah, you would really hope that the race baiting from this attorney general and this president would stop, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Let's move on to the governor of the great state of Maryland and the immigration issue. He apparently saying one thing, but in public, and then saying something else in private with regard to sending those who were caught at the border to his backyard.
Yeah, he was speaking to reporters recently, and he went really to the left of the president and to the left of Hillary Clinton on the issue of immigration, saying that these unaccompanied minor children who are crossing the border are coming from hellish places. It would be inhumane to send them back there, and we have to figure out a way to accommodate all these people coming across the border. And it was seen really as going to the left of Hillary Clinton, going to the left of the administration, and creating a bit of a distance from them. And apparently, right after that, about Friday, he was called up by the White House by Celia Munoz, who's the head of this situation over there, who's been really going out in front of this whole immigration crisis on the border, and was lambasted because he doesn't want these minors who need housing to go to a facility in Western Maryland. Now, according to the reports, he said that he was afraid that conservatives were going to harangue these minors coming into it, maybe attack them verbally, maybe even worse. So that was his reasoning for this. But there was a CNN report that was really fascinating, which suggested that this all came out because Clinton's machine and the president's machine are really nervous about a populist left-wing challenge to Hillary in 2016. And O'Malley is running for president. He's going to challenge her. So they really want to stamp out that challenge as soon as they possibly can, and creating the appearance of hypocrisy here, which there obviously is. He really is being a hypocrite on this issue, is really helpful to her political prospects. It just shows how the Clinton ruthlessness has not abated in the last 20 years.
Speaking of Clinton, you wrote a piece at Hot Air talking about this game, this will she run, won't she run? She was on Jon Stewart last night, you know, and all you hear today are, oh, the hints, she dropped a hint. And I agree with you. I think it's becoming very annoying, and I think the longer she goes on, the more she's turning people off. It's
quite tiresome. And Chris Cuomo, also on CNN, had a good observation that she's really setting herself up for a huge anticlimax when she eventually does it.
Well, let me stop you there, and I hate to interrupt you. Do you believe Chris Cuomo has an axe to grind here? I've noticed this a lot. You know, the media has anointed her. We're giving her a free pass. We're her PR people. Do you think that he wants his brother to run, but doesn't, feel that he can, and he's like kind of blaming Hillary deep down for that, and this is his digs at that situation?
I don't know. That's a very interesting theory. I can't really speculate on that, but it makes about as much sense as anything else. He has been pretty critical of the Clinton media strategy at the very least. So yeah, that's as good a theory as any.
Yeah, well, it just dawned on me because you've heard the name Chris Cuomo so many times, and if Hillary runs, Chris Cuomo's not going to run, obviously, and then if she does run and win, then even though she'd get up there in age, you presume that Chris Cuomo is done for the next 8 years, and so it could be a problematic, and maybe not Chris, but I'm getting confused. Not Mario, not Chris, but Andrew. Thank you. Anyway, you know who I mean. But yeah, so I don't know when or if she's going to break this cycle and announce, but it is getting kind of annoying. One more. The other day, the non-photo op president, on his way to not going to the border, found time for a photo op in Colorado with the governor of Colorado playing pool and drinking beer. And you wrote about it on Hot Air, this poll out of Colorado that does not bode well for him.
Yeah, there was a Quinnipiac survey, and it really doesn't square with a survey that came out from NBC Marist yesterday. Which suggested that both Colorado Senator Mark Udall and Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper were really pretty secure, below 50%, but well ahead of their Republican opponents. And then a Quinnipiac poll came out today, which shows that John Hickenlooper's opponent, who's a former congressman, hasn't held office since 2007, who's running against him, has almost no name recognition. 43% of people either haven't heard of him or don't have an opinion on him, who knows. But he's still leading Governor Hickenlooper by 1 point, within the margin of error. But that just shows that if voters are prepared to vote for somebody they have no opinion on, just because they're voting against the incumbent, it's a very bad place for the governor to be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great point. All right, Noah, we'll keep reading you at hotair.com, and we'll speak to you soon, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Noah Rothman, ladies and gentlemen. I got to tell you, that is my theory on Chris Cuomo on CNN, who, by the way, this morning tried to rip a sheriff from, oh boy, Arizona? I'm not exactly sure. Rip him, you know what. He was disrespectful. He was arrogant. He was badgering this sheriff. But the sheriff held his ground. And Cuomo, he claims he plays it right down the middle. Right, sure you do. We're coming back with more.